all vegetation can be found under the corresponding terrain structures like categories. The vanilla categories are trees, bushes, and clutter. So we can place them in the editor as we envision. Terrain vegetation often repeats too much sort of on code. We need to make it look more natural. A simple method is to give them different orientation. An entity context menu option has been added here, just random orientation. It works with all entity types in the editor, such as soldiers or props that need so varied facing. Vegetation only has partial effects, such as leaves, like falling when shot. And trees can be knocked down like poles, while bushes can be absolutely crushed. However, no vegetation can restore wind animation, and grass cannot be directly crushed. These physical effects are only achievable with terrain objects, so not mission, entity. All modules from this mod can be found in the environment category, and they are basically restricted to editor use only. First, introducing the guest terrain objects like module. It can read terrain objects within a certain range and record their relative height and horizontal orientation. Click Export Data to open a panel for interaction with the whole second module. Preview terrain objects is only responsible for processing and displaying exported data. After pasting the data and confirming, we can quickly replicate a really small area. However, in the area we just copied, you may notice some rocks were missed. Re-on-count, export the data with include proxy objects, check to restore those like rock. Since they have no corresponding TF equals class, they cannot be directly acquired and can be filtered, so optional. In a virtual like uncreality scenario, we can better compare and just examine the dragging and rotation effects of the copied area. So we can disable the preview option in the attributes, which converts all data into editor entity. They will appear in a dedicated layer. If no layer name is entered, the default name will be used just instead. If non-just CF plus tactiles types exist, game logics will be placed as temporary entities. After entering the mission, they will be restored as simple objects of the corresponding type. Next is terrain object type filtering, like NK's part follows the same rules as hiding terrain object. We can use it to select which terrain data to just copy. The module itself only supports elliptical and rectangular areas. For complex shapes, we can use whatever trigger, synchronize multiple triggers with the module, then switch the sync type to synchronize trigger. This allows like copying on a larger scale, but also puts more pressure on performance. Creating temporary previews is very fast, but dragging causes noticeable frame, like drops on depending on your PCS performance. I also do not recommend placing a large number of complex models, like simultaneously in the editor. The last module, like random vegetation. This is similar to the terrain processor tool SES mode, but used on a smaller scale in the editor. So, similarly, it supports triggers to generate irregular shapes, then lets you choose the desired map like vegetation. It does not calculate density, but simply distributes objects in a circular pattern. So the maximum count must be entered manually. For comparison, here is a demonstration using triggers to actually define the area. We switch to trigger sync mode and must just manually click the clear button. Only after clicking clear when no data exists in the area will the whole module regenerate vegetation, because it cannot determine which module is actually selected. So this function is disabled when multiple modules are selected simultaneously. That concludes the introduction to the modules. Next, please watch the module, Just Generation Effect. If you have any questions about this model, please raise them promptly like I'm QA. I will make adjustments and release it as soon as possible.